here is that without every one of you, without the club members, this club is nothing. So it's really a club that you can participate, can do your part in your local community, or or even in the state, that we can effect changes, and we need to do that. And so I kind of leave it up to the next one, and I'm prepared to answer any of the questions down the road.
Oh, Pat.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Yeah, so without Patrick, none of us would be here today. So I'm very appreciative of all the work that he's put into to make everything possible. So it's been 2 years. It feels like longer, and it feels like less. And I think I joined in I want to say
3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Well, as club manager about 4 months ago, but with the club a little bit longer. But yeah, it's coming up on our 2 years, about 15 or so more days, and we'll be up here on 2 years of our anniversary. John, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, especially Patrick and William.
Oh, John, you're coming through very, very choppy.
My first Tesla event that I helped coordinate was a little over 10 years ago. Okay. How's that? Is that any better?
It sounds a little better.
Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, it's a little better.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll keep it short. My first Tesla event was just over 10 years ago. I saw my first Model S 9 years ago today. So I've been waiting for the opportunity to be in a group like this forever. And Patrick asked me at the end of 2018 at a party if I might help, and I said yes.
Thanks, John. Howard, would you like to go ahead and tell us when you joined and a little bit about you?
Sure. I joined, it was like April of last year, 2019. I got my Model 3 in March of 2019, and really learned about the club actually through reading the newspaper, believe it or not. As I said, my mom, I grew up in Buffalo area, so I was visiting my mom and saw the details about an upcoming drive event out in Buffalo area. So I really learned about the club that way, and really have gotten involved since. And as well, I've had the interest in trying to get some similar events like the drive events in Albany, since, again, since we know upstate, there are no places to really show off the car. We do have to go downstate for that. So we did have a nice event in February, right before all the COVID here. The Mount Kisco Center came up, and we had 4 weekends and really showed off. And our last weekend really boomed, and we showed the car off a lot, and it had a lot of great response. So that's kind of how I've kind of risen a little bit too in the club, to try and get some more events like that going on. Obviously, that's all on hold, but do want to keep moving forward, helping out, and spreading the word in the capital region. So
thank you, Howard.
And also too, we did place an order for a Model Y for my wife. So 2 Tesla family soon.
And do you have a solar roof, don't you? Or a solar?
Well, yes.
Solar.
Yep. Solar roof too. So.
And Keith, I believe, is our last regional organizer on the call today. Keith, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Long Island, I started with the group basically a month after you guys started. From 0, we're at, I don't know, 100 something plus members already, and that's a good thing. And hopefully it'll grow to 200, 300, 400, 500 members down here. It's a lot of contingency, a lot of cars here. I did drive the original Generation 1 Roadster in 2009. That was my first experience. And then I had a couple of Model S road tests. And I was supposed to be at the opening with Elon and everybody when they did their thing, 16th, 18th Avenue, or 16th Avenue, whatever it was, and West Side. Unfortunately, I had a funeral to go to that day. I couldn't make it, so that was bad. But I did have a question for Pat. You probably know the answer to this too, though. What happened with Joe? Is he okay? I know he left, but I hope he's still okay. I still think about him. We got along very well together.
Yeah, we're okay. I mean, I guess I think we are fine. Thank you. Nothing particularly worrisome up here, so appreciate your concern. So
No, again, we met, and that's the last I saw of him. But I know he left or left his position. But he was a good guy to get along with, and very, very friendly, and maybe some pointers, and made the club very, very happy. Had
well,
a very good
he's a
happy down
good
here.
programmer. As a matter of fact, Steven just reached out to him with some help with programming. So he's a good programmer.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, the thing, unfortunately, he doesn't have much interest in Tesla. So you know, so as a matter of fact, I commented Steven. One thing is because we have a potential Tesla owner that emailed the club about, you know, thinking about buying a Tesla and how it handles in snow. And Stephen was able to explain and through, you know, about his personal experience and with some video commentators and stuff like that. And I mean, I would be blown away if I were that guy and get somebody explain to me about the Tesla and so on and so forth. So I'm very happy because not only he loves Tesla, but he has experience and being an owner that make a big difference. And I had a Tesla for Joe to drive. I said, Joe, drive it. It's a Model 3, you know, standard range rear-wheel drive, and it's a car for him to use. And he didn't really use it. So so you know, he would have no experience in how to operate a Tesla. And what's the benefit of Tesla and the fun, the most important thing is the fun driving Tesla. So so I think this to me, that's really important that we have a Tesla owner to be the club manager, and I'm so glad to have Stephen to be part of it. So
Great, Stephen does a great job too.
yeah,
I try.
So you gotta straighten your back out, and I gotta get over what I'm getting over here.
So the reason I had some of our leaders go ahead and introduce themselves, this is our first ever Ask Us Anything. And I figure one of the best ways to do that is, you know, talk about the history of our club, who's helped build it, how it got here. Like I said, it seems like something that's been around for years and years and years, but it's young, 2 years old.
Yeah,
and there's a, you know, a very, very bright future ahead of us. Tesla has been very open to working with us and figuring out how to collaborate with us on future events. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, it's actually already about 3:50. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions. Anthony dropped one in the chat over here right now, and I believe I have a couple in a document. So he said, why does the Model Y not come with a charging cable? I believe it comes with, you're talking about the mobile connector. I believe it comes with the mobile connector, but it doesn't come with the adapter for the NEMA 1450. Is that what you're talking about, Anthony? Yes. So I as far as I know, I don't think any Teslas at all anymore come with the NEMA 1450 adapter. I'm not sure of the rationale behind that. Maybe it would just, I'm going to assume Tesla can look at our data as far as seeing, okay, are people using NEMA 1450s? Are they just using, you know, a standard wall outlet, the 110, right? So perhaps maybe they said, you know, are we giving these away? Is this something where people don't really need it and we're just, you know, giving these out for free and it's just not necessary?
Most people really use our 40 amp outlet, right? I mean, that's typically what they use in their home.
So I don't know what the majority of people use, but like I said, I don't know. I'm going to assume they have access to that data to see what people are using to charge. But as far as I know, no new Teslas come with the adapter, the NEMA 1450 adapter. And I believe that's correct, William?
Hey, Steven. Yeah, I was actually about to ask to interrupt for a second. Yeah, so we can look at the data on, you know, what type of charging every vehicle uses every time it plugs in. Like, it's not something that is just readily available. It's you know, in the data that is reported back to the mothership, so to speak. And if we look at that and we see that certain features aren't being used or certain equipment's not being used regularly across the entire fleet, and we're talking now over 1 million cars, then we're going to start trying to find ways to reduce cost and say, look, you know, not every, like 2% or 5%, I don't know the actual number here, but like, let's say like less than 5% of every owner of owners out there use the home link feature. They don't use garage door openers for whatever reason. So why are we going to put that in the car? So the same sort of rationale falls onto charging equipment. If we see that people aren't using their mobile connector very often, or that maybe they're only using the 110 adapter, then that's where we're going to start going, just to simplify the entire process for everybody. And for things like the 1450 adapter, it is available. You can order it right there off of Tesla.com or shop.tesla.com if you need it. Come to find out, most customers, what they do ahead of delivery is they actually have things like wall connectors built into their homes. They have them installed, and we have a really great network of electricians that can handle those installations. So let's take it to the other direction. And like customers like me, I live in an apartment out here in the Bay Area, and as we're delivering more and more Model 3s and more Model Ys, the demographics and the kind of customer living situations that we're seeing across the entire fleet is it's kind of shifting away from people who are charging at home, and so people are charging at public facilities where wall connectors or destination chargers are already built in, or workplace charging, or things like superchargers or urban chargers. So there's a lot of data that we have to go through, and at some point we said, okay, well, this is something that's complicating this whole process, so let's go ahead and take it out. And if someone wants it, they can go ahead and order it from us. So that's about as deep of an answer as we can give with that.
Thank you. Paul just dropped a question. He said, is anyone else having problems with connecting their car to the internet? He has a Model X 90D 2017 and is having problems connecting to the internet. That's only about 3 years old. Paul, if there you are. Is it when you're on the road? Is it at home? When do you typically have the problems?
I don't think I've ever been able to connect on.
Ever?
No. I get to the point where it asks for like a funny Chrome or funny something or other, and I don't have Chrome to connect to. So I've just tried like putting in google.com or anything, and it just doesn't seem to want to connect. Now I have a 50,000 mile inspection coming up with the Mount Kisco people, and I was going to check with them if there was something wrong with it. But I'm just curious if anybody else has had the same problem.
Does that mean anything with the like Slack radio or
Slack radio? No, I have TuneIn, no Slack as far as I remember. Not been able to get into TuneIn. I can get onto. I don't think I have Slack.
Or is it Slackers? I think Slacker is the
Slackers.
Slacker.
I don't think I have that.
So, well, yeah, you should still be under warranty. If yours is a 2017, you should still be under warranty. And where are you located? In
Danbury. Just
okay.
Yeah.
I would set up an appointment through your phone if you haven't.
Well, yeah. Let me tell you something. That I was just as William was talking, I was going to write another question saying we know that the trying to get through to Tesla customer service is a near impossible task nowadays. And I was just curious as to what they're trying to do to improve that. And yes, I actually go down there and personally make my appointments, because even going via the email route or whatever, it's harder. So this way, I know I get it done. Forget trying to call, right?
Well, so I can kind of answer your question there about our new setup with connecting with service. But real quick, what was the initial question here? Because I was responding to a message on my end.
The initial question is that we were all excited when it first came out that you could get Netflix and blah 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 in your car, and I've never been able to connect to that ever.
Like even going through like the toy box and trying to connect to there?
Well, through the toy box.
Well, the toy box, the entertainment app that gives you toy box or like the video stuff.
Yeah, I'm able to do some of that stuff, but I'm actually talking about the internet.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to connect through like going to the browser and saying Netflix.com. That's not going to work. You have to go through the built-in app that we put into the entertainment stuff, I guess, the entertainment menu. You have to use that to connect to Netflix.
Do you have the free connectivity, the free unlimited connectivity? Cool.
I don't know. I would assume so. I mean, I
Yeah.
have free.
Well, yeah, if he's got a
supercharger.
2017, he should.
And
Yeah.
if you bought it new, you should have free unlimited connectivity. You shouldn't have to pay anything.
So what would I do to try to get this connected? And I don't even remember seeing a Netflix symbol in my toy box.
If you want to set up a call with me, I could walk you through it privately if you want to do that.
That'd be great.
Shoot
Yeah,
me an
that's probably the
email.
better
And
way to
we'll
do it.
send it. Yeah, shoot me an email. And we'll have a call to walk you through it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Cool. Awesome. So to answer the question about the overall, and this is something that I'm sure a lot of people on the call will have the same question. You know, the way that to connect with Tesla for either sales or service has greatly changed over the last few years. I've been with the company for 7 years and some change now. People think of me as an old timer. Like it's almost like I'm from the before times. And so like the team that I started on literally was who you would call if you had an issue with your car. Or if it was a non-technical issue like the white glove service, like ring ring, thanks for calling Tesla. My name is William. How may I help? So yeah, we really moved away from that. The reasoning behind it, and I want to give that first, is that as we scale as a company, you know, right now we're over 1 million cars. And very quickly, I would argue probably within the next 18 months, we'll be over 2 million cars. And that's only going to get faster and faster and faster. And so the question internally is, how do we scale our processes to match the number of, or to support the number of people that we see becoming our customers over the near-term future? And one of the things that made the most sense was, how can we take all of the most basic sort of stuff, like, okay, I have an issue, my headlight's out, I just need to set up an appointment for that. And so it's a really straightforward sort of thing. So let's build that into an app, or build that into the mobile app and say, I want to set up a service appointment. It needs to be here. Here are the times available. I'm going to choose this. Here's the issue. I have a headlight out. Type in some additional notes, send to the service center. They'll get back to you. We just want to make it as simple as possible. We do recognize that there are, you know, other expectations that our customers have, or sometimes it's not as cut and dry of an issue as that. So we are either we already have it built into the mobile app whenever you start going through this whole process that you're reaching out and you're setting up the appointment. The service advisor or the service technician should be able to respond to you directly via text message, and then you can have that conversation then. But the initial, like, I as a customer need to connect with Tesla service about a thing. We need that to go through because, and we were talking about this on our call yesterday with Jerome, and he was really laid it out really clearly to us, really simply. You know, those messages, whenever you call a service center, you're talking to a service advisor. Well, that person's not going to be who fixes your car. So that person has to write these notes down and then has to hand it off to another person, potentially handing it off to another person who will get it to the service tech, who will then repair your car. In the digital sort of like the app ways, we can just skip all those middle people. We don't have to hire them. We don't have to make those expenses. We can still keep certain people on staff, like service advisors, to handle some of those soft skills, but we can speed up the whole process by taking some of those people out of the chain. And we can just go straight to the tech and say, here's what needs to be ordered, order the parts, let's get it done. But we do recognize that we're not perfect at this, and we're still learning, and we're still growing and getting better. We are providing club leaders. Stephen was on the call yesterday, so he knows about this. We're providing club leaders with some channels to provide feedback from the clubs to say, hey, our customers are having this type of experience. We would really like to see, you know, the mobile app experience change in the following ways, whatever those might be. So if you have feedback on how you think we can be better, it shouldn't just be, hi, I'm having a problem, I don't think this works. Suggest some options. You know, let us know how you would want to see it improve, and send that over to Steven. He can send that over to us. And you know, this is something we're actively working on right now. So thank you for the question. Like, it is literally one of the biggest questions we have right now. So I'm glad we can get it out there right up front.
And just to plug, my Mount Kisco people are great for service. So yeah,
awesome.
Just gotta get a hold of them.
William, that actually is another good question. Hamilton sent me a message wondering, and it kind of goes along with this. If anyone has constructive, like positive good critical feedback for Tesla, what is the best way of getting that to Tesla? Is there a direct email? Should that be something that can go to me and I could pass on to you? Something, like I said, for positive feedback or critical feedback.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Sure.
Getting messages from other people internally.
Is there a good email address or contact to reach out to if you have some type of a critical feedback?
Okay.
Or positive.
So, I mean, like, I just whatever the channels are with your local sales or service teams, that's going to be the most direct way of doing it. From a corporate headquarters perspective, we don't use things like feedback at Tesla.com anymore. It literally turned into receiving 5,000 messages a day, and we just don't have the staff to get through that. And so it's stuff that if we're providing feedback, use your local Tesla staff, provide the feedback there. Or if you take the car in for service, or you've just taken delivery, or even taken to test drive, whatever, then we do have a survey program that says, how did we do? There's a big free text field there at the end. You just give us your feedback there. Our survey program is specifically built out for that. That is actually the team that I work on. It's like what's called customer insights, and so like survey and customer feedback, as well as a lot of special projects, which is where the Owners Club program falls into the whole company. So yeah, utilize our survey program and let us know through that, because all of those, like, let's say there's 50 appointments that happen every week at Mount Kisco. Let's say half of those people respond and provide us feedback. That's 25 emails, 25 messages, whatever, that we can send directly to that service manager and say, hey, here's how we can be better. And if it's stuff that is really systemic and things that we need to change at the top level that affects all the stores, then that's an easy list of things that we can send over to the executives and to the various stakeholders within the company.
I think this is Hamilton. I think the problem is that Tesla is not adequately recognizing and I don't know what the number is, but the customers to whom going to a service center is a non-starter. I picked up my car at Mount Kisco. It's a 4.5-hour drive. It's 250 miles each way. It's not something one does. One doesn't make a service appointment there. Mm-hmm. Recently, you've opened up a service center in Rochester, but even that's a 3-hour round trip.
Yeah.
So the nature of my question was, when I encounter things like the situation which has been on lots of blogs, where the car is in cruise control, it goes past a intersection, a T intersection, the road is at an angle, and the brakes go on. Now, in my case, and I don't want to debate, I want to talk about the issue. I want to talk about what my concept was in getting feedback. Mm-hmm. I go by that intersection every day. So I encounter that, 20 days a month. And mm-hmm. I don't have any way that I know of to feedback to Tesla the details of that so that they could look at it and determine what the problem is. I know it's not unique to my vehicle. I'm mm-hmm. sure you know that. But there again, the only way I find this out, the only way people that I see are getting the message out is on a variety of blogs. One is Tesla, but there's several others. And it would seem to be much better if people, instead of complaining and resulting bad publicity, if Tesla would make available an email or other methodologies, such as you just described at a dealer, to the mass of its customers to feedback constructive information on a problem. All the things you described are good, except that we're right back on square one. Go mm-hmm. to your local dealer, and I realize the West Coast is maybe saturated with dealers from what I see in the blogs. But upstate New York, there's one in Mount Kisco. So that doesn't mean anything to you, but that's closer to New York City. I'm up
I know where Mount Kisco is.
Syracuse. Mm-hmm. Rochester's 3 hours away. And there's a lot of people in between.
Yep.
And that's not true just here. And I really think Tesla needs to look at making available a portal to receive such feedback.
Yeah. So what you're mentioning is a very, very specific type of feedback. And so I guess what I was trying to say is, the broader, bigger sort of like customer experiential sort of things. From the perspective of things like autopilot and cruise control, whatever we want to call it, there are systems built into the car that actually collect that type of feedback without you having to do anything or without you having to do much. So any time that your car is on autopilot, auto steer, anytime that you take over and take over steering, it makes note of what was going on that led you to do that, and then that goes to the autopilot team so that they can review the data. Whether or not there's video or if it's just telemetry, they can look at the math and things like that and kind of figure out what was going on with it. I've personally seen a lot of those changes actually happen out here in the Bay Area where there's certain curves on the freeway. I just to let you know, autopilot, auto steer, those types of things, those are really intended right now. Today, those are intended for freeway and highway driving, not where there's like T's in the road and stop signs and whatnot. So your mileage may vary if you're using it on those types of routes. But I've had it where there's been certain curves on the freeway where the car starts like going into the lane over, and then over the course of a few months where you would take over steering to steer it back in. If we get enough of that data and see that, then our teams see that and can actually go in, update the code, make sure that it can match to that road, that specific spot. And then it can train our neural network to look for those types of experiences so we can better train the autopilot system and so forth and so on. Additionally, if you press and hold the microphone button or press and hold the button on your steering wheel that activates the microphone, you can say bug report, and it'll actually do all of the same sort of taking notes. You don't have to say anything else, just say bug report. And that feeds us back data. So like if it's autopilot related, if it's adaptive cruise control or auto steer, any of that package, just go ahead and use those types of things like take over steering or say bug report, and that feeds into our systems. You don't have to do anything beyond that. And that goes straight to the autopilot team.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too, William. Thank you for that. Yeah, Hamilton, if there is a case where when you're going through an intersection, or like you said, if there's a T or whatever it is, and you do take over, if you press bug report or press I think it's the left button, at least on the Model 3, I think, right? I think it's the left. Yeah,
Right.
and you say bug report, that will send the feedback to Tesla for them to review. So
Right button.
Right, is it the right button?
Yes, it is.
Oh, the right button. Okay, every time I always forget. Every time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Mary Jane asked us a question. When on cruise control, the Model 3 approaching a stop sign sometimes, or a few intersections, it'll do a hard stop with several loud clunks. Is this something I should have checked out with my car? My first thought, Mary Jane, was, do you have your foot on the accelerator when that happens? No? Okay, that's happened to me a couple times where I'm trying to move up a little bit at a stoplight or or whatever it might be, and I'm trying to move up just a little bit more, and I'll use the accelerator or the go pedal, not the gas pedal though, and it'll do clunk, 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 and it gets really scary. I think it's just the brakes, and it's the autopilot and the brakes, and everything's kind of fighting each other because the autopilot system wants it to stay where it is. Is it? I don't know too much more about that though. So do you want to give a little bit more context on that?
Real quick, if I could say something,
Sure.
I want to really reiterate this. As of today, as of right now, the software that we are shipping, the stopping at stop signs and stuff like that is
beta?
Still very, very new. So we're still learning about that. And for my car, for instance, I don't have the hardware 3 installed yet. I shouldn't be doing anything even remotely like what you guys are talking about and having autopilot on from stoplights and stop signs. So just be very, very careful with that. And of course, send us feedback if things like this are happening. Do the bug report stuff.
All right. So Mary Jane, you are on mute. I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about that, if you had. Let me see. I can't hear you. I'm not sure.
If I can respond to Mike real quick, you just
Okay,
posted in your
there
chat.
we go.
Go ahead, Mary Jane.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's nothing with the car that we should have checked out. It's just the fact that we're in beta with the cruise control and the stop sign thing, right?
Chances are that's probably what it is.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be purely, completely 100% safe, you can always schedule an appointment, local service. Like I know New York, there's only a few service locations, but you could also try to reach out to like roadside assistance. I would say do that very sparingly and only last resort if you think that something is actually broken.
I think it's normal behavior. I test it out quite a bit, and that does happen.
Yes. Can you alter, I don't know if anyone knows this one, can you, and Patrick wants to know too, can you alter the route that Tesla gives you on your destination? No?
No.
Okay, so
No,
you can.
It's not MapQuest. You can't do that.
Okay. Yeah, so you cannot alter it. The other, I don't know if this is possible, but you might be able to, from your phone, if you go to Google Maps on your phone, you can actually send the directions to your Tesla. I have an Android phone, so I don't know if it's different on an iPhone. I don't think, as long as you have Google Maps on your phone, I think it should be fine. But you could actually send the directions to your Tesla. So I don't know if it's going to send the exact path that you would do on your phone. So say you wanted to take just a specific path that you're able to do on Google Maps. I don't know if it's just going to send, the end location, or if it's actually going to send you the path that you chose on your phone. I'm not fully sure on that. John, do you know? I know John has a lot of history with maps.
That's my current topic. That's exactly what I'm discovering. There are no waypoints right now as it stands. But if you do set up a custom route in Google, you have to send it to your mobile device, to your phone, to something called Google Maps Go. And that's an app that will read the turn-by-turn directions that you custom made. So every turn-by-turn is an intermediate destination. So let's say you put an intersection in and then another intersection. You have up to 8 intermediate destinations on your route. So if you're doing a Tesla drive, you can snake through the back roads to get from the start point to the end point on a custom route. And then share that with Google Maps Go, and it will read out loud each turn. That's the only way we know how to do it yet. Hopefully there will be a built-in way on your media control unit on your screen. But as of now, you have to use Google Maps Go with intermediate destinations to get turn-by-turn directions.
Gotcha. Thank you, John. Keith
I
has...
have a comment on
okay.
about the changing of the route on the navigation autopilot. Usually what I do is if the route that the car give you and get an exit is too early, what I did is I would just hit take the car out of navigation autopilot, so it'll be just an autopilot without navigation, and then after they pass the intersection, and then I re-engage the navigation autopilot. So then they will automatically select the next exit or whatever the route that I prefer. That's one way to kind of trick the system in a way, because as you just talked about, I would love to have it able customized to my route, but I guess we just wait for Tesla to continue to improve on that one. But there are a way to quote unquote work around it, and that's what I do.
Keith, I don't know if you have your hand raised on here. I don't know if you have a question. Okay, go ahead.
It's actually a 2-part question. I usually leave my windows vented at the very least, sometimes all the way down. Now, with the car having rain sensors and knowing that it's an empty car, there's nobody in any of the seats, why can't the rain sensors close the windows for me? I've already been rained on twice. And the second part of that question is, we have the vent part of the window. Why can't we have it all the way down as well? Instead of just a little bitty vent, why can't we lower them all the way? That would save me trouble from going outside and lowering them manually.
So, I mean, the best person that can answer that question is William, but
that's what I want to hear from.
kind of goes back to what
Yeah.
Hamilton was saying too about suggesting, you know, good feedback and if there's a
Mhm.
good endpoint
Yep.
to get that to. So
Yeah.
if you
So, yeah, this is an easy answer. The software is just not designed to do that right now.
Well,
So
for
that's
safe.
a good feature to suggest. And I mean, if you want to send that over to Steven and he can put it on the list.
Sure.
And like what we're doing is, and I'm going to send out clarification on this whole idea because this is something that our sales teams and exec teams asked for yesterday with the submitting feedback. I'm going to be asking clubs to submit things on about a monthly basis, so it's not like I'm getting like 5 emails every day from like all the different clubs. Like just I get a bulk of them, of 100 of them all at a time. I can put everything into a spreadsheet and send it over, or the sales teams or product teams that are going to be getting it, they can do the same thing. So yeah, just send it over to Steven. We can get on the list.
Very
But thank
good.
you for the feedback. That's a very cool idea.
Yes. No, it's also something I've been rained on twice already. So
the first time I ever saw a Model 3, first of all, I freaked out because I was like, oh my God, a Model 3. But the first time I ever saw one, it had a window open. The rear was at an airport in Albany, and the rear left window, the driver's side rear window was down about halfway. And my first thought is exactly what Keith was saying. It was like, it should be able to say, okay, if it's raining or if it should be able to raise the window if it could figure. But I guess that is something where the software team has to be able to work on that. Yeah, they're obviously really great idea.
I'm going to put it out there real quick too. We have to wait for it to rain here in California so we can get more data too.
Come to New York.
Yeah, come to New York. It's raining in Rochester, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I wish it was raining out here right now.
Go to a car wash and do it.
So Chris has a question. Hi, I joined a few minutes ago and not sure if it was asked. Will there be more service centers in New York, specifically upstate, Syracuse, Buffalo, Watertown, etc.? That's something that I don't know, and I would assume same thing directly from Tesla. There's no way to directly state that, right?
Yeah, I don't have any updates on when or where locations are going to be opening. I know that I don't know if any of you follow Jerome on Jerome, our president of automotive. He's pretty active on LinkedIn. He uses that as kind of a social network. And yesterday he posted, a list of locations that we're actively looking for sites to build service centers. And we are really, really looking for opportunities to build physical locations right now, as opposed to just mobile service. So we try to do that wherever we have vehicles out in the field or out in the fleet. So we want to make sure that we can support all of you. So just as the fleet grows, we do see where we need to put those things. Like we just built something in Rochester, and as we have higher saturation points, then we'll start building out service locations as well. It's just it takes time. The amount of red tape to get stuff like this done is considerable. Don't even get me started on us trying to build superchargers, where the actual physical build might take 5 days, but it might take 5 months to get the permitting for a supercharger location. So service locations are similar.
Peter, I see your hands up. You are on mute. You will have to unmute your. I think I could. Okay. Oh, on. It's still on mute. Let me see.
There. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Got it. 2 things. One, a lot of times, maybe more than 2, but a lot of times on some roads that I frequently travel, they're 2-lane roads, and I often use autopilot on 2-lane roads. Love it, but it doesn't seem to, like there's stretches where the limit is 55, but the autopilot thinks it's 45. It's been 55 forever. How do you get that kind of thing updated?
So I could probably answer this, but you can do bug report and say, press the right button, say bug report, speed limit. I do this probably whenever I take a good trip, wherever I'm probably traveling somewhere where it's at least an hour until I get to my destination, I encounter that. And there was somewhere, I was just going out to Kingston about a week ago, and the speed was 55, and it was on a double yellow line, and the car thought it was 35. And the whole time I just had to take it out of autopilot, or I just kept my foot on the accelerator and I was able to get it to go 55. But I think a few times I would press the button, say bug report, speed limit is 55, not 35. So that's one way. But the other way, I know Tesla is working on a completely new autopilot refresh that's supposed to come out at the end of this year, and that's something that could be worked into the system a little bit more. I don't know if William has more information on that, but that's something that hopefully should fix that problem.
Yeah. So the way autopilot works is that it doesn't actually, like the current version of autopilot, hardware 2.0 and 2.5, the stuff that isn't Mobileye. Mobileye was on the very early Model S, Model X autopilot systems. Everything since then, everything that's been built in-house by Tesla, we do not use the vision system to look at speed limit signs, not yet. And it's something that they've, and I can only speak to things that I've seen publicly, not things that I've heard internally, because I have no idea what we're working on with autopilot, thankfully, so I'm not spoiling anything. But from what I hear is that, like publicly, is it seems like we're working on a vision system that can read speed limit signs, as well as pulling from the map data that we have on hand. And we use a couple different databases for that. Whether it's what is it? We can look this up and provide this information. But there's a certain mapping service that you as a user can go in and change details about certain stretches of road and things like that. It's one way that we've been able to update autopilot for like parking lots, because parking lots didn't have if the car's pulling data from the system to figure out where the road is and a road hasn't been drawn through a parking lot, then it's just purely relying on vision. And people went through and drew a grid like where all the parking spaces are and where all the lanes are, and it works a lot better now. So I can look for that, and if you want to update, like create an account, go in and update those things on those roads where it happens, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, we are working on a whole new version of autopilot. Hopefully you all only see benefits and we don't see any problems. But we're basically we started a while back to rewrite the code from the ground up to better utilize the full self-driving computers and stuff like that. So that Elon has said, later this year. And I don't know if Elon time, if that's going to be later this year, or early next, or something.
Fingers
like
crossed.
That. So, but it's something we're working on. Yeah. OpenStreetMap. Thank you, John. Real quick, Bobby just posted, "Where's bug report found in Model S?" It's the button that activates voice command. So it's on your steering wheel. It has like a face with words coming out of the person's mouth.
So I'll try to get through a couple more questions. We could go a little past 4:30. I don't know how long William can stay, but I do want to get through as many questions as possible. And Will, I think you were going to answer this just before Mike's question. I was told and read online by multiple service techs that bug reports just captures data, but doesn't upload it automatically. Is this a recent change? I don't know if you would know anything about that.
If it doesn't upload it, then that's news to me. So everything that I was told, throughout the history is that it does upload. If service techs say otherwise, they might know better than I do. So I can try to find out.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I'm very sorry. Is it Udeme? If you want to go ahead and ask your question. No, is it not Udeme? How do you pronounce your name?
I'm just kidding. So not to piggyback too far, but around the feedback stuff, I know William was talking about it. So maybe one polite suggestion, just because I'm a software engineer, is maybe Tesla could look at the population of Tesla owners, and that could help drive some of the service center stuff you're trying to build. So I know Jerome, you said he did that, but also maybe, so the gentleman that was talking about, he has a 3-hour drive to a service center for something that's small. So dumb example, I got an issue, the car sounds funny. I just go to the dealership and say, hey, do you have a minute? So maybe that may be one trick you guys could use to figure out the service center thing. I don't know, just a dumb idea. So I don't know, just a thought, but yeah.
I was wondering, how do you pronounce your name? I just want to make sure I get it right.
Udeme, you were right.
Udeme, okay, I got it right. Good, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, so with all the service stuff, it's definitely a pain point, and it's something that we're working really, really hard to find the solutions for. And I guess one of the most basic ways of kind of putting this in context, we are trying to solve as many issues as we can before trying to throw people at it. And because throwing people at it is going to cost so much more money, which oftentimes we don't have. Right now, we're trying to finish building one factory, building another factory, start building a third factory, and maybe more. There's a lot of stuff going on. So it is definitely something that's really important to us to be able to improve the customer support structure at service in person. But that's also, like if there's a noise or something like that, like just using it as a really basic example, that's why we say, hey, let's go ahead and just use your app. If it's not something that's going to be a make or break right there in that moment, just use the app, get something set up, and we'll try to get someone like a mobile service tech to swing by. If you're in a location that allows you to stop by the service center, then go ahead and do that. I do that every once in a while here in Burlingame. I literally live a mile away from my local service center, and I know the whole team really, really well because we're all Tesla employees and we chat about stuff sometimes. But, like you are welcome to stop by, aside from, the COVID restrictions and things like that are in place right now. But in places that aren't, that's where we need to get that information to a mobile tech, because we would prefer to, if it's not something that's going to prevent you from driving, it's something we call vehicle off-road. If it's not something that's going to prevent you from driving, if it's just something that's small, something that's annoying, and something that we might not be able to even get to it for a few days, even if it wasn't already at a service center, then let's try to send somebody out. We would rather take that hit by putting someone in a car and sending them your way than you coming all the way to us. But then beyond that, the better solution is building more service centers and making them to where they are able to be self-sufficient as we're able to scale our service program and our service offerings. So, but yeah, whatever feedback you all have, even those simple little things, send them over to us or send them over to Steven, and he'll send them over to us. And we'll go through all of that. And, this is all incredibly valuable for us because there's only so much people put into surveys. They're upset about, that they had to bring their car in at all, or that we didn't fix the issue, or maybe they don't say anything at all. So we don't know that there are underlying things that they want us to hear about. So definitely utilize the club program as a feedback channel. We want to hear it. We want to be able to be better, and we want to be able to help.
Thank you.
So Chris had a question, and I have a little, I don't want to say like insider information, but I have a little insider information. So not in regards to Tesla specifically, but so how likely is it that Tesla will get into the home HVAC business? So we have one of our club members, they have a contact at NYSERDA, and they actually reached out to me today and said, New York State wants 60% of new car sales to be EVs by 2030. And then we were talking a little bit more today, just about EVs and some incentives that are going to be going on. So they had an energy fairs before COVID, but I guess at one of these NYSERDA energy fairs or whatever it was, they were talking about the HVAC system that Elon was talking about, like a home HVAC system. And it seems like something that's pretty much in the works. I don't know how they were able to get all that. I know William's not going to have anything to say on that, but it does seem.
I have no idea what's going on with that realm of things.
The coolest thing ever was I forgot what it was, but on Twitter I wrote back to Elon and he actually commented saying, "Oh, it'd be so cool to do a home HVAC system," and I was like, did he actually respond to me? But yeah, so it does seem like something that he's very interested in. If he says that he's interested, most likely it's either already in the works or heavily interested in getting on. But they did say apparently NYSERDA was already somehow in the know of HVAC, and they really want to promote heat pumps and good quality HVAC systems. That is one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gases, from what I could remember, is inefficient HVAC systems is very big, probably especially at industrial levels. I want to go through a couple of very quick questions from Anthony. I think they could help us out here. Super quick, and I'll just get through these. So, should you keep your car plugged in at all times when not in use? From what I remember, in the Tesla manual, it does actually recommend to keep your car plugged in, and it shouldn't go past 90. I could be wrong about that. I don't know if anyone has a quick response, but I believe from what I know in the manual, it actually recommends keep your car plugged in at all times. John, I think I see you shaking your head on that, if you know.
Right, and the reason why is above 90 will prevent you from using regen, for one, and it also has a potential issue with wear on the battery, premature wear. And if you keep charging consistently over that, it will come up with a dialogue on the screen to say, do you want to lower the charge limit? And I see that often because I charge up past 90 to get to home because I can't charge it at home. And so that it becomes just about 90% when I get home, and that message never displays unless I stop at the store on the way home. Then it pops up to think that I already stopped for the night. So yeah, 90 is probably as far as you want to go.
Yeah, and then for I mean, another point to add on that, remember there's the higher the state of charge, the more stress you're putting on the battery. So if you know you're not going to go on a long trip for a long time, you could probably leave it at 70. Honestly, I mean, just to ensure the greatest outcome of not having to worry about battery degradation, I would just say, even if your normal commute, you don't need to use it that much. But unless you're really going on a trip, you probably don't need to charge past 90. Like I said, I'm going to go through a couple of really quick questions from Anthony, just because they're quick responses. Should you unplug your charging cable from an outlet when not charging? So I've never heard anything about that. I don't know if it causes stress on any of the components in the mobile connector, if that's what you're talking about. My other thought is it probably uses a small amount of energy if you just have it plugged in like any appliance in a house would use, just by having some type of a phantom drain. But I don't think you have to worry about it affecting the connector, if that's what you're talking about, Anthony. So I think
that's negligible.
Meaning, so it would just be so minute that it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's I mean, I think anytime that you plug in, like leave the mobile connector plugged in, if there's like an LED on it, that's the only power that's going to be pulling.
And it's
so that's all negligible. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like having a digital alarm clock or less than that.
One question actually, and maybe someone can answer this question for me. And I almost always unplug my mobile connector when there's a lightning storm. I don't know if it's something you have to worry about. Does anyone else have, I should know this, and I'm sorry I don't, but does anyone have have you ever heard anything about that? Or maybe even William? I know it doesn't really rain or lightning in California, but.
Lightning, no. Rain sometimes. No, I haven't heard of that.
Okay.
I mean, so with regards to just electronics in general, if there's like lightning storms and things like that, I mean, certain appliances, maybe you probably want to go ahead and unplug them, maybe unplug your car just in case.
Just precaution.
But I haven't heard of any, I haven't heard of any issues with any what we refer to as thermal events with cars being plugged in whenever there's a lightning storm or anything like that.
Gotcha.
But, if you want to be, it's always one of those, it's your car. If you want to feel safer about things like that, feel free to unplug it. So real quick, while we're talking about all the charging stuff, I have a Model 3. I have a sub 300 VIN, very, very early. I have the Alcantara headliner, which we did for the Founder Series Model 3s, which is one of mine. Well, mine is one of them. So a lot of people really want that Alcantara headliner. But so I've done almost 72,000 miles in my car on only, probably 1,000 miles in the last 4 months or since early March. I barely plug in my car at this point because I'm never driving and I live in a place that I don't have charging at my apartment. And prior to that, I would supercharge at least 2 to 3 times a week and sometimes plug in on the trickle chargers or the 240s at work. My battery degradation is less than 1% over 70,000 miles. So and I would generally charge up to about 80%, but I would supercharge all the time. So our battery technology right now is really, really solid, especially in Model 3 and Model Y and the newer variants of S and X. So degradation hopefully shouldn't affect any of you in the ways that it would have like a Roadster owner or an early Model S owner. But yeah, so if you're not going to be using that extra 20%, don't charge over 80, don't charge over 90. But if you are, like try to use that top 10%, that top 20% immediately. Like if you're doing a road trip, like if I were to go from here to Kettleman City, I know the Kettleman City with all the solar and 40 chargers and the lounge and everything, that would be like my mid stop to get from here to LA. And, I would charge up to 100% here, charge up to 100% there, and then be in LA before you know it. And that's I'm immediately taking care of that top 10%, that top 20%. So yeah, it's unhealthy for the cells to sit at such a high rate of charge, which is why we say, yeah, go ahead and keep it 80, 90%. But if you're gonna charge up, go ahead and make sure you use it. Because one, it's unhealthy for the cells. Two, you can't use regenerative braking. So.
Yep. And I think that goes to a question, Hamilton. I believe it was your question that you sent as well, talking about charging. If you're going to use superchargers as your main source of charging, I think as long as you're not really going above that 90, 100%, I've seen a lot of degradation personally. I don't use superchargers that often, but I think my degradation comes from hard acceleration. One of the reasons I bought
leave
my
your car in chill mode.
I can't. I did it once.
I'm kidding.
I can't. But yeah, most of your degradation is probably going to come from just pulling tons and tons of energy out of the batteries all the time, or putting way more in than it should be dealing with, which is charging over 90. So I think like there's our regional organizer for Thousand Island Seaways, Thousand Island Seaway. He uses only superchargers for his Model S. And he has a 2017 or 2018 Model S, and he hasn't really seen much degradation. So you can rely on superchargers. It's not advised. I think even Tesla says you really should either use level 2 or home charger, but it's not like, I don't think it would, I'm almost positive it wouldn't void your warranty. I'm sure William would probably potentially know that, but I don't think using superchargers is really going to hit you too much, so.
No, like our current battery technology, we know that a large number of our of the fleet of our customers, of the fleet of Teslas, they're going to be using supercharging, whether it's urban charging or supercharging, as their primary sources of recharging the car. Like, the Bay Area is the highest saturation of Teslas in the entire world. I know the large percentage of Teslas that are here versus everywhere else. I can't share that, but it's not insignificant. And if you notice, we are dropping superchargers in here as fast as we can. We know that people are going to be using it as their primary charging source. But that said, degradation, supercharging should not contribute to degradation. But charging and leaving it set over 90% will start doing that a little bit. I haven't personally, about your case, about hard accelerating and all that sort of stuff, I wasn't aware that could cause degradation. If that's the case, then, well, I'm glad that I leave my car in chill mode. Like I literally do, and I'm not the sort of person who like has to get on it all the time. I just want a nice, comfortable ride that's nice and quiet. So yeah, there is a solution right there for you. Is if hard accelerating is causing degradation,
don't do that as much.
Yeah, don't drive like an animal.
Or be okay with the consequences, which I assessed, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and over time, our battery technology is improving. We have some really great announcements that we're going to be making in a couple months. So
Battery Day, right? Battery Day is coming up soon.
Yep,
September
2 months from
22nd.
Yeah, 2 months from the earnings call next week. So it should be fun. It should be a lot of fun.
Elaborate. Yeah, 22nd, I will wait. I'll go through a couple more questions from the chat, and I don't want to hold us too far over, and I don't want to hold William and some of our regional organizers over, but I do want to go through a couple more questions if we can. Any comments on MOU memory limitation issue from Sanford? I don't know much about that. MOU memory limitation issue?
Is this the EMMC issue that...
I think that's, I don't know if Sanford's in here. I don't know if you can, let me see if there's another chat. If not, we can go.
So this was a big question. It might be the same sort of thing. If it's not, then at least this will answer a different question that may not have been asked. We did talk about this yesterday during our call. We are looking at the EMMC issues and the MCU1 issues that are starting to seem to pop up around the world right now. We are looking into software ways to fix this stuff with software, or to limit the amount of read writes that are happening on memory or on the SD cards that are inside of the MCU units. As well as we're looking for ways to reduce the cost of actual physical repair if you actually need to have the unit swapped out. So it's something that we are actively trying to figure out right now. We were able to drop the price from like $2,500 to $1,500 now. Apparently, the replacement unit is like $950 if you have to have it replaced and you're outside of warranty. And we're looking at ways to bring the prices down as quickly as we can, because we know that we want to be able to take care of you guys. We don't want to run service at a profit or anything like that. We want to be able to run it at break even. So it is something that we're working on. I don't have any particulars beyond that. That's about what Jerome said. Stephen can verify this. But we are trying to find ways to fix it without incurring a huge amount of cost on you or on us.
Great, thanks. One of the specific issues I had is every time I hung up from a phone call, the radio came blasting on. And one of the mobile techs who is working in another area now got on and stripped a lot of stuff out of my memory, and that fixed the problem. He took it down to 28% usage from a higher level. But I'm still having the same issue on the Model X, and it was in for servicing in Henrietta, and they said that that's going to have to be a software fix for the same issue. Just
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. We'll go through a couple more questions. There was one. This was from Hamilton, and he sent this to me before, and I know a little bit about this, but I don't know if there's any other good resources regarding parts. So is there a web link or other way to order small parts for Teslas, for the Tesla directly, such as nylon inserts for license plate screws? Is there any exploded view available to identify parts? From what I've heard, Tesla has been pretty closed about that kind of information, but I don't know if William, if you know more about that.
Please see my response to his question in chat.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Like that's something that local service would probably know about better than I would. That said, and it's something I would have to dig up. Stephen, you might be able to dig this up just as easily as I would. But somewhere on our website, we actually do have like a parts list for consumable stuff that you can purchase on your own. Or like what type of part, if it's something that is just readily available with other cars as well. Like for instance, the air filters on Model 3, Model Y, there are directions and explanations on where you can buy those from. If it's from us, then just order off shop.tesla.com or somewhere else what type of filter it is, and then it shows you how to actually replace it. It's like in the same sort of section of the website that has those types of things. And I think we actually have resources that will show you how to do various types of repairs beyond that, or if that is like a full exploded view of the car in different ways. But I don't think that we really advertise that too much. It is something you have to dig to find.
Other ways, probably, what's his name? Who's the
Rich
guy?
Rebuilds guy?
No, not Rich Rebuilds, even better. He just did the Model Y teardown. Why can't I remember his name?
Oh, sorry,
Sandy Monroe.
Sandy. Yes, Sandy Monroe. I think from what I remember, he loves the exploded views as well. So although he probably sells those books for a few $1,000s. So, but I could check and see if I could find any more information for you, Hamilton, on that. Chris asked, are Model 3 and Model Y wheels interchangeable? As far as I know, they are, but the S and X wheels are not interchangeable with the Model 3 and Y. You would also want to be careful about the brake caliper sizes, as that could get in the way. If you have performance brakes on there and you're putting on different wheels, you might not be able to put those on. But as far as the actual screw size, those should be interchangeable. Does anyone have more information on that? John or Howard? I believe that the Model Y and Model 3 wheels should be interchangeable.
Well, the 19s and the 20s probably, but I'm not certain, because I know that the suspension is different between 3 and Y. So Model Y does sit higher up off the ground. So I guess if you put a set of like low profile 21-inch whatever Model 3 wheels or whatever the really, really sporty ones, try to put those on a Model X, it's going to, the actual wheels, the physical tires are smaller. So the Model Y would end up sitting a little bit lower to the ground. I would say talk to a tire shop.
Okay.
And like if you're trying to use a wheel or like the actual rim and put a different tire on, then that might work. But yeah, I'd say talk to a tire shop or talk to a local service. They might be able to provide insight on that.
I just want to show Anthony. Anthony was talking about just double check on the charging for 90%. It should be, I'll see if I can get this right on here. My car is just waking up. So there is one bar that is, I don't know how well it's going to come, but just before the full, all the way on the right side. I don't know if it's coming through on the other side there. But that would be 90%. Where that bar is right now, that would be 90%. And it goes in 10%. So right there in the middle would be your 50%. And each bar is equal to another 10% for your battery. So I just as today or a few days ago, I've just been keeping my car at 85% just because I know I'm not going to go very far. But I think that should hopefully answer. If there's any final other questions, I know we're about 15 minutes over. If there's a final question that anyone else has before we end. Peter? We'll go ahead and make this the last question for today.
Okay, I have a January 2017 build Model S. And I'm the original owner, and we got it with full self-driving and all of that good stuff. Has anything been done so that if I upgrade the what is it, the MCU to the new one, to MCU2, I don't want to lose FM radio. I figure I paid for FM radio when I bought the car too. Has anything changed? I know originally people were saying that the company was saying, tough bananas, nothing we're going to do for you about that. But has there been enough uproar so that that's changed?
I guess I'm the best person to answer this. So I haven't heard any changes, anything that's different from that case, that FM radio you would lose it. So if I can, I'll explain the reason why you lose it whenever you upgrade to MCU2, and then what potentially the solution is, and it falls into the stuff that we're doing every day and trying to find better ways to support all of you. The reason why it goes away is because MCU1 and MCU2, they have different connectors. And so to actually have FM radio put in, they would have to put in a new wiring harness. They would have to put in new antennas and like tear out half of your interior to put all this stuff in. I exaggerate a little bit with that, but it is not a trivial process to do all of this. And again, going back and looking at kind of the usage data that we see across the fleet, FM usage is not as high with certain people as it is with others. So it was one of those, can we do this and it affect the least number of customers possible, and then keep trying to refine the process moving forward. So that's kind of where we ended up sitting with it. Not to mention, like a lot of the stuff that you find on FM, you can find on things like TuneIn or Slacker, or if you have your phone on Bluetooth and whatnot. So that said, that's the current state of where we're at today. Moving forward, we are looking into ways to improve these types of processes and improve the hardware so that maybe we don't have to tear out all the wiring harnesses or whatever and put all new stuff in. But until we actually make an announcement with that, we are where we are today.
I thought it had something to do with an analog tuner versus a digital tuner. And that
I could be mistaken. It might be that, but it is something like literally it's more than just the MCU, and it does require us to do more of an involved sort of tear out of the hardware inside the car.
How important is it that I ever do that upgrade to 2?
So if you paid for full self-driving, like the entire big package,
Yeah,
and
I
if you
did.
want to take advantage of that, I believe you need to have, again, confirm this with service. I'm not a tech. I don't know the particulars necessarily, but I believe to take advantage of the hardware 3, you might have to have MCU 2. I would love to be wrong, but you obviously aren't going to have hardware 3 in your car yet. Or if you do, then you're all set, and yeah, then you don't necessarily need to worry about it. But so MCU 2, it takes it, well, so the stuff that you get from that is like you get Netflix and you get various different other entertainment stuff and the games, and a number of improvements across the different built-in applications. But personally, me, I don't personally use any of that stuff. I think I've kicked on Netflix twice, YouTube maybe 5 times. But yeah, so it really depends on how you use your car and whether or not you're going to see drastic improvements or usability or feature improvements.
All right. So before we end, there's a couple things I just want to go over real quick. So this, like I said, this was our first ever call. I wanted it to make it a straight up and ask us anything, any questions you've ever had, anything either about the club, the history, the car, repairs, service. And I think we accomplished that today. Either we'll have events very, very similar to something like this in the future, or my thought, and you could always email me and let me know if you have ideas for improvement. But I would like to bring on a professional in a specific field, whether it's investing, whether it's in service, whether it's in detailing, any ideas that you have that really are in our sphere of sustainability. I recently, one of our club members, they have a contact at Morgan Stanley, and they would be able to have them come on and talk to us about investing specifically in sectors that are related to sustainability. So something like that, I think, would bring a lot of value to the club and would be pretty enjoyable. I feel like I would learn a lot from that. So if you have ideas of who, certain experts that you'd want us to bring on, reach out to me and let me know. And I can see if I can make those connections. I also want to thank our Ludicrous and Plaid members for helping financially, keep the club sustainable and keep it growing. And I want to thank our regional organizers and key members as well for their efforts in helping grow the club and promote it and lead their regions. I believe those are pretty much all of my final thoughts. And thank you, Patrick, too, for being here and giving us your wisdom as you do. So, but I believe that is the conclusion for our call today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. And let me just go ahead and drop that in there too, if you want to stick around just for one more second. It's just my name, Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, p@tocnys.org. And like I said, any questions you have, feel free to reach out to me. But I believe that is everything for our call today. And thank you, William, again, for coming out here and giving us your knowledge. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. And thank you all for being a part of the local club. Your enthusiasm and support, just being Tesla customers, like you bought our product, you go out and you talk about it, you share your experiences with people online or in person, you help refer new customers, like all of the business stuff, but also all the community stuff. It really is important to us as a company, and it is moving every day to see so much enthusiasm around our mission, around our products. So genuinely, thank you very much for everything that you do. And if you ever you want to reach out and find out anything from me, contact Steven first, and he can filter it through. But yeah, thank you all again for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.